Hello, and welcome back to the Schools of Magic Devlog episode 4. In this episode, we are going to be looking at the Artificer, which I've been working on quite a lot recently. So, I've already got it typed in. There's an array of items here that we will be going through. I've also got them in here. So, to start off with, in the gameplay, you will get the Artificer ring. So let's just go into, I believe I already have one equipped. Yeah, I do. Let's just throw that one away. You get the Unbound Artificer ring with 3 iron ingots and the Artificer Core, which is 4 copper around 1 Scarlet Shard, which is an ore that generates naturally as shown in the last showcase on the Thaumaturge. So you use the ring just like you use the Thaumaturge ring, and it will bring up the choice screen. Do you want to pick the Artificer, or do you not want to pick anything yet? So if you pick the Artificer ring, the ring becomes bound. You can equip it in the ring slot, and that will make it so that means that any of your Artificer powers will be active. So in here, we can look at the examples, and unlike the Thaumaturge, the Artificer doesn't have any natural magic, so they have these magically enhanced upgrades that are used on their custom armor and weapons. So let's start off with the armor set. You have the Tinker's Goggles, the Tinker's Cloak, the Tinker's Leggings, and the Tinker's Boots, which you might have noticed have slots in them, like bundles. So what the slots are for is, if we grab just all of these upgrades, let's start off with the tracking lens. The tracking lens will show the health, armor, and food of a target that you're tracking. So, for example, if I do player, Steve, spawn. Okay, I've already used this player before, that's why they have inventory and stuff, and I press the keybind on them, it will set their health, armor, and food to all being to 20. But if I get somebody like Alex, who I haven't registered yet, I can press 2 and the armor value sets to 0. If I grab a Tinker's Sword quickly, I can stab them and they lose health equivalent to what I stabbed them. If I change the game mode over to, oh, it's already on easy, so they should run out of food at some point in time. Yep, the food has gone down as well. And same thing if I go back to tracking Steve, and I stab Steve, Steve's food will go down, and that is what the tracking lens does. The horoscopic lens is quite hard to show off without other players. But basically, you equip the horoscopic lens, and other players that have picked a school, they will glow the colour of their school. And I think I have a pre-recorded clip of that using armor stands that I might be able to show off. Just so you can see the effect. Next, let's look at the cloak, which you might have noticed the cloak is a set of elytra, but it will not give you any elytra flight. So the cloak is purely for decorational purposes unless you install the Animus Core. The Animus Core will allow your elytra to be used as an actual set of elytra, instead of just being cosmetic as the armor is. So that one's quite an easy upgrade to explain. And now is the Temporal Core. The Temporal Core is a weird one to show off. I need to go into creative and grab a skeleton spawn egg. Just a skeleton. Let's grab some fences because I don't want it running off. Alright, I have fixed the issue. So the Temporal Core, what happens is, if you have an enemy shooting arrows at you, for example, you can activate it and the world will go grayscale, and any projectiles within a 5-block radius of you are slowed down. If I leave the radius, it will fly away. And this goes for almost any of the vanilla projectiles, like if I throw a snowball, see it lags a bit, but then it eventually realizes that it's supposed to go slow. And if I deactivate it, it flies off. Let's just kill this guy. There we go. And that is the Temporal Core. So next thing would be the Leggings. And the Leggings have plates. The Mirror Plate is also hard to show off without another player. It is a bit of compatibility with Thaumaturge, where if the Thaumaturge tries to cast a spell on an Artificer that is using a Mirror Plate, the spell will instead work on the Artificer, but the Mirror Plate only affects projectile spells and beam spells. And then there is the Phasor Plate, which is better to test in creative mode. With the Phasor Plate equipped, what that does is, it gives you a phantom-like phasing ability. So I can go through the ground here, but underground it is very blurry, you can't see properly. It's not meant to be like an advantageous super upside. It's supposed to be a utility that is used sometimes. And along with this, you don't have the freedom of movement like the Phantom would in Origins, which is the freedom to move through any block but obsidian. You can't move through obsidian with the Phasor Plate, but the real changes come when you look at blocks of different hardness. Like, you can walk through air fine, in grass you walk around fine, like I can walk through here, same speed, but if I walk through, say, wood, I'm slowed down. And I'm slowed down even more walking through things like cobbled deep slate. The harder a block is, the harder it is to move through. And that is what the Phasor Plate does. The harder the block, the slower you move through it. So, for example, you can walk through here and here, but you get slowed down. And the last armor upgrade is the Souls. There is the Speedy Soul, which uses one of the Thaumaturge's textures right now. As you walk, the bar fills up. So you can walk around for about 10 seconds or so, I think it is, until the bar is full. And once it is full, you can activate the Boots ability, which is to expend the charge in the boots for a speed boost. And you can stop it at any time by pressing the keybind, and it will recharge as you move. And the final upgrade is the Meteor Souls, which is a launch and crash type ability. So, in pressing the boots keybind, you will launch into the air, which on its own is not that good of a power, it's just going up in the air. But if you combine it with the Animus Core, you can launch and then use your Elytra. Or, wait, no, I wasn't supposed to do that. Or, the actual effect of the Meteor Soul is split into two different sections. It is launch and then crash. So, you launch normally, but if you're looking down while you launch and then you press it again, you will crash towards the ground, creating an explosion. Let's show that again, in third person. And that will hurt all of the mobs around you, and you'll obviously take fall damage. And that is the last of the armor upgrades. And now it's time for the Tinker's Sword, which I used to kill a skeleton, and the Spell Sling, which used the Tinker's Tablet. These all have powers preloaded in them. The Tinker's Tablet is a sort of programmable thing. I can show off something that I'm working on for it, which is a advancement tree for the imbuements. So you can look into the Tinker's Tablet and it will show you a list of imbuements. I currently have all of them unlocked, even ones that aren't on the tree. So I have fire, ice, repulsion, magnetism, and healing. This is Void-like effect. I was testing something earlier, but it did not go as planned. Or remove the imbuement. So let's use a cow instead of a skeleton. Let's expand this. There we go. Let's put some cows in here. So the sword just acts like a normal sword. The damage that it will do will change as I develop it. It's just test values right now. And I shoot the cow, and it's just a normal shot effect. It does fire a custom projectile that looks like a fire charge. It's not a fireball. And the real magic comes in when you use the Tinker's Tablet. Let's just grab one here. If I apply the fire imbuement, let's stick one of these in each one. The sword. Oh, I just got rid of the sword. The sword will burn enemies on hit because it's imbued with fire. Alright, I fixed that issue now. It took too long to fix. So there was an issue where the spell sling would not properly work on the enemies. But now, if I put this in, the cow will be set on fire. And the ice imbuement is best shown hitting myself with it, because it has an overlay effect and everything. So you get a potion effect called Freeze. It doesn't have an icon or a name set properly yet, but it applies the freeze effect and you become frozen temporarily until the effect wears off. And all the durations for everything will also be changing over time. So, actually I'm not going to do that one next. I'm going to do heal next. Now, heal is exactly what you would expect. You can hit yourself with it and you will heal instead of taking damage. If I punch this cow and then hit him with that, actually I should probably stick on the tracking lens for this. If I track the cow, you can see his health go down at the bottom. It is on 4 health now. Oh, wait for it to stop running. If I hit it, it will gain 3 health per hit. Now it's the Repulsion upgrade, which I'm going to go into creative test because I like to show this one off with armor stands. There we go. Let's get some armor stands. So if I fire this projectile into the center, it will blow all of the armor stands and me away. And the same thing happens if I place the armor stands back and move this upgrade over to the sword, except instead it is centered on me. So I can right click, and I don't know if you saw, but when I do that, the sword gets the same texture as when you use an Ender Pearl, the Ender Pearl cooldown. So the repulsibility on the sword has a cooldown. And the final ability that I'm going to show off is the Magnetize ability, which is pretty much the opposite of the repulse ability. So if I throw the armor stands on here, all of the entities get pulled towards it. And the cool thing about some of these upgrades is how well they synergize with each other, like how well they work together. If I put the Animus Core in here, and I have the Meteor boots on, you can launch into a glide. But also, if I run over to these trees, let's go into survival, and I equip the magnetism on the spell sling, and also have, where did the leggings go? Did I drop those? Oh well, I'll just get a new pair. Throw the leggings on with the Phasor Plate, and launch a projectile in a high place like a tree, and it will pull you towards it and launch you into the air. And if you swap over to the Repulsion, you can do this thing where you boost yourself using the Repulsion spell. So it pushes you away. If you can land in its area of effect, it will launch you. Or you can just do this to launch directly upwards, and as long as you hit near its effect, you will get momentum. It's very difficult to do to get the momentum boost, but if you can hit it perfectly, you can get a very high boost of speed. And that is the last of the Artificer upgrades that I'm implementing now. I will be adding more later, I believe. I need to get some more ideas for imbuements, so if you have any, let me know. But I also just want to add on the end just a bit of information on some changes to Thaumaturge. So if I go and grab a Unbound ring and a Projectile Runestone, and let's go with, we want to make a dig spell. We need a spellbook and an iron pickaxe. So I need to take off the, I'm not wearing an Artificer ring. Thaumaturge ring, stick that in there, throw down the Projectile Runestone and iron pickaxe to make a Projectile Dig Spell. Now, the Projectile Dig Spell, well, not just the Dig Spell, but projectile spells in general, have also been changed to use a similar system. It also uses the Fire Charge texture, but I will be changing that. The difference between the Spell Sling projectiles, I'll go over here and get the Spell Sling, and the Thaumaturge spell projectiles is the fact that if I fire a Spell Sling projectile, it will land in the ground. But if I launch a spell, it does not obey gravity. So I can fire this and it will break blocks instead of just being a ray cast almost identical to the beam. Now I will be working on more Thaumaturge spells and Artificer upgrades, but I believe that the next video will be the Alchemist, who uses matter and infusions to modify their own body and the world. There is some pretty cool stuff that I have planned for that and have implemented, which I will show off whenever that video releases. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed. If you liked the video, then hit like, subscribe for more, and see yous.